Good afternoon, Facebook friends and family. It's another edition, but a special edition of Neighborhood Spotlights because we are kicking off our monthly Bristol episode with our new co-host, Mr. Kevin Donlin. What's up, brother?
What's going on,
guys?
Kevin?
How are you? Good to be here.
How's
Kevin
it going? What's going
the
down?
swag. Check out Kevin. He's always rocking the swag. You're looking good, buddy. How are things?
Hey. Yeah.
What's going on? Where are you today, Kev?
Working from home today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Bristol Borough.
What's on the agenda? So you're just hanging out in the borough. I feel like you're everywhere in the borough. You've like in such a short period of time, you've established yourself as just. I mean, you are the authority in Bristol Borough. Every time I see it, you're at a different event, you're at a different fundraiser, you're at a church volunteering. What's going on? What are you doing today? Tell me about your day.
Well, I'm doing a lot of self-promoting and advertising, and working on a billboard that's going to be coming soon. And,
Ooh,
we love billboards.
Just finalize that. It'll be kind of like right in the gateway of Bristol. As you're coming into Bristol, you'll see my beautiful mug.
It is a beautiful mug. Where exactly? Can you reveal that yet or no?
It'll be at the intersection of 413 and Route 13, right before you go under the underpass. Yeah,
I know exactly where you're at there.
Can we do an unveiling for that? Can we do an unveiling for that or what?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
So that corner, I spent my adolescent years and younger years prior to that right around there. So my mother owned a collectible store in that shopping center in Bristol Commerce Park. So every day I would go there and I would go fishing out in the little pond back there and catch bass and whatever. Lots of fun. And later in life, I got my first job there, which was at the Radio Shack in that shopping center.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, that's where Gotti got his start, right around the corner. Little did I know that my man Kevin would have a billboard right outside of the shopping center. That's pretty cool, dude.
Right.
So,
I hope we do it. We got to do it, Mark. We got to do a big event for that, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
We got to do it. We got to do a big event for that. That'd be dope.
So I want to know.
Kevin,
I want to know
Kevin,
what's going to be on the billboard. Listen, Kevin has the best social media posts. I love how you kind of make you play on your teeth. And you do all these other things. Is it going to be a funny post or is it going to be just straightforward, informative? The billboard. What are you thinking? Do you have any ideas yet?
It's funny because my first instinct was to use humor, but after bouncing it off other people, they're like, you know what? Let's save the humor for the next one. Let's just give it basically an introduction.
Build the brand. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Kevin, and listen, me, you, and Chad, we could talk for hours, and I know that we probably will. So I want to bring out our guest, and we know obviously our guest is Bill Pezza today. I want you to help with the introduction because you've known Bill for a long time, and I at this point don't know very much about Bill, and I'm going to learn a lot about him in a short period of time. So tell me a little bit about Bill, and then Chad, if you want to help him out, we can bring Bill out, please.
Well, before we do that, real fast, Kevin is going to be on our show monthly now as the expert authority on Bristol Borough. And yeah, this is going to be a new addition to Neighborhood Spotlights. We're going to do a Bristol Borough edition. So I would like
to take 1 week off and he gets rid of me.
No, co-host.
No.
But I want. Yeah. I know. But I want Kevin. You don't have to do it today, Kevin. But going forward, when we talk, give us the 411 on events and good stuff going on and restaurants and all that good stuff. If you have stuff today, that's cool. If not, bring on the guest.
Yeah, it's actually funny you say that because, Mark and I were talking earlier before we came on, and I really am everywhere, and it's not like purposely. It's I want to let everyone know that I haven't been in Bristol my whole life, but I honestly feel like I should have been because in the short time that I've lived here, this town has just grabbed a hold of me like no other place I've ever been. And that's why now I live here, I work here, I play here. I really 90% of my time, business and personal, is spent in the borough. And I do everything I can to promote the borough so everyone else can experience what I've been experiencing. So, yeah, the next guy that we have on it knows more and has contributed more than anyone else in the development and the popularity of Bristol Borough.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue into bringing out our guest. So if we could bring out our guest, Bill Pezza.
Hello.
How are you, Bill?
I'm
Bill.
good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for joining the show today. You're here with Kevin and Chad, our co-hosts. And obviously, you know Kevin. You've known him for a while now, right?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay, excellent.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me be here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Bill, I will tell you this, a little bit of backstory about Bill. And, this is my first time actually seeing you. But I heard so much about you through Kevin, and he refers to you as the godfather of the borough. And he's like, listen, Mark, he said, all of these things that you're seeing in the borough, everything that's going on, it all just directs back to Bill Pezza. And I think that's just amazing. It's great to hear. I love Bristol Borough. I've spent, I was saying when you were backstage, I spent a lot of my younger years in Bristol Borough. Mill Street has come such a long way in such a short period of time. I remember I used to own salons back in the day, and I was going to open up a business on Mill Street. At the time, it was very empty and just seemed a little dark and gloomy. And this is going back now probably 20 years. But I feel like this resurgence just happened within the past 5 years. And Bill, what do you attribute that to? If you can talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, a lot of things. And again, thanks for your kind words. I appreciate it. But it's very important for me to let everyone know that the success we've had in Bristol is a combination of a lot of people, obviously, a great deal of people. And it's also, so I'm president of the civic group Bristol Borough Raising the Bar, which is a euphemism for, or colloquial for, the Bristol Borough Economic Development Committee. And we work very closely with the Bristol Borough Council, and we have an excellent relationship. And they are doing tremendous things. And when we approach them at first, when you go into a small town, anytime a civic group pops up, people in office wonder, are they a threat to us? Are they going to, are they going to be a threat in some way? And we made it crystal clear. First of all, we were friends anyway, but we made it crystal clear that that's not what it is. We're there to support. We're there to help. We're there to do. Well, I like to say, if Ralph DiGiuseppe, our council president, gets up in the morning and he has big goals for the borough and then finds out that there's a sinkhole or a pothole somewhere, that's what his day is. Where we get to do the fun things, we get to do the promotions and whatnot. But without the things that the borough has done, especially getting grants for equaling $3 million to do our waterfront, without those things, the stuff we're doing on the side is just, is meaningless. So I want to make sure that everyone knows it's a combination of government and our nonprofit group.
And that's,
let me interject there for a minute. So, Bill's right there, but one thing that I've noticed in the short period of time that I've been here is that it's been hard, from what I understand, over the years to try and keep up the motivation and positivity of any town that is falling on hard times. And one of the things that I noticed, again, in the short period of time is that Bill is amazing as far as the motivation and positivity. And he interjects that. And I can tell you from experience that it has rubbed off on me. I have friends that are business owners. It has rubbed off on them. And then it also rubs off on the town. Bill, I give Bill a lot of credit for keeping the positivity and motivation of the borough to keep this train rolling.
Yeah. Let me link that to Kevin, if I will. Okay.
Please.
I remember we were having a town meeting and we were going to do a townwide cleanup, and we had about 50 people show up for a planning meeting. And I said, why don't we go around quickly and just introduce ourselves? And the first guy said, my name is so-and-so, and I've lived in Bristol all my life. And the second person said, and I'm Susie Smith, and I've lived in Bristol for 20 years. I said, stop. I said, I don't care if you've lived in Bristol for 15 years or 15 minutes. If you want to invest yourself in this town, if you want to roll up your sleeves and work, we're going to make sure you feel a part of this, that you're welcome the minute you arrive. And I think that's an important thing. And that's how I feel about Kevin. And I think Kevin can attest that that's how he's been received. And with his kind of energy and motivation, we can't turn any of that away. So I want to make that crystal clear. And to anyone listening that's new to town, and sometimes they just feel like, I don't know how to connect. I'm new here. I want to get involved. I don't know how to connect. And getting on Facebook, getting on our Facebook group, Bristol Borough Raising the Bar, is a good way to start.
Sure. So
and I'm a low man on a totem pole, and I actually have people come to me because I also volunteer every weekend, 2-hour shifts. There's a whole group of us, and we volunteer to drive the River Runner, and it's an 8-seat golf cart that we drive around on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And we take people from the parking lot of their cars to King George, or, I always love to try and look for them coming out of establishments. And if they're coming out of King George, hey, I know a great place to get drinks afterwards, or, you know what I mean? So I try and, get them to go from one establishment to another, not just go to their car.
Sure.
But people see that and they say to me, hey, that looks like a lot of fun. How can I do that?
Right.
So then that's when I try and promote it, and then I'll pass it off to the next person in line.
Sure. Let me say something about the River Runner, Mark.
Yes.
So my wife and I went to Florida. We went to I forget which town we were in, but all these go-karts are going. All these golf carts are riding around, giving people rides, and they're colorful and they look like fun, and they're free. And I said, damn, let's get one of those for Bristol. And we did. We got a grant. We purchased it, and we used all volunteer drivers. One of the happiest things I feel is when I'm walking down the street and I'm walking by a group of people and the River Runner goes by and I hear somebody say, why don't we have one of those in our town?
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, Mark, if you know from history, there weren't a lot of times when people were saying, gee, why can't we be like Bristol?
Right. And I will tell you, and Bristol Borough has come up often in conversation. So our flagship office is in Newtown, right on State Street in Newtown. And we have something very similar, or actually we're starting something very similar to Raising the Bar. And it's called the Newtown Experience. And I brought up Bristol as numerous examples. For instance, I was shopping. I think I was going into one. I don't remember which store it was, but I was shopping a few months back. And as I'm going down Mill Street, I noticed you were hanging flowers. Okay, there were people that were out there hanging flowers on the light posts. You probably had 50 volunteers out there. Yeah. And to me, that was huge. Again, this is Bristol Borough, and we are Newtown Borough. So you would think that we would have the same support here, which we are now trying to grow with this Newtown Experience. But a lot of times it's really difficult to get people to volunteer their time. And we all work. We all have lives outside of this. The fact that you have so much support, where is it coming from? Now, obviously, I know there's business owners that are helping, but it's almost a cult following. People just love the fact that they're helping out the borough. How are you doing this? How are you
creating our philosophy on how we go about that? Okay. We read a book once called Good to Great, and it was a book designed to help corporations get better. Okay. And I still recommend it for anybody that's in the business world. But one of the chapters in the book dealt with two questions. How do we get the right people? How do we get people in the bus? And then how do we get them in the right seats? Okay. And what we try to do when we ask for volunteers, we tell people our motto is do only what you enjoy doing for only the amount of time you're willing to give. Often when you ask people to volunteer, they're spooked. They say, oh man, what am I getting into? I don't have time for all this, or, and they don't know, they don't know what kind of commitment they're making. But when we say that, and we say, you want to give us an hour to hang flowers? If the flowers aren't hung in an hour and you have to leave, no problem. With that approach, people are much more willing to get involved. Plus, people have different interests. Some people won't do a marketing thing, but they'll hang a flower for you, or they'll pick weeds, whatever. So that's the approach we take, making sure that they know that they're only going to do what they enjoy doing for the time they want to enjoy doing.
So I want to dig a little deeper into Raising the Bar and what it's all about. So what was the main objective when you actually created this group? And now you obviously have a history with the borough. You were on council for 8 years. Your son is on council now as well. And the nice thing that I've seen through Bristol, you had mentioned Ralph DiGiuseppe. I know that his son now stepped in as mayor. And I love the fact that it's passed on from generation to generation because there's true pride in Bristol Borough. Yeah. But give me some backstory on Raising the Bar, how you established it, and what you actually do within the community, because I think that will help educate people a bit, and it should hopefully bring some people to your doorstep, because I think it's amazing.
I've been involved in all levels of government, as you said. And when you read about how do you turn around a small town, how do you turn around a town that's been struggling, across the board, the literature says you start with the commercial district. Okay. You start with the commercial district and you build on your assets. And in our case, our asset is the Delaware River. And I like to joke, I don't take offense, Mark, but back when we were really struggling, I say, I went to Newtown the other day and I had a great time, but I drove around all day and I couldn't find the river. Just couldn't find it. So we try to build on our assets and the commercial district. So that's where we focused our time. X number of years ago, we had a 40% vacancy rate on Mill Street. When you were referring to that 40%. But not only that, not only were the shops vacant, but the property owners weren't even. It was like they weren't even trying to market them. The windows looked terrible. Some of them, you just looked into an empty store that still had ladders and pails on the floor. Others put up that brown butcher table paper that I hate. So my wife and I actually started knocking on the doors of some of these owners and saying, would you mind if we did something to your window? And the first response, well, what's it going to cost? Not going to cost you anything. We're going to raise some money. And what we did is we blew up beautiful pictures of Bristol landmarks, the Grundy clock, the wharf, and things like that. And we put them in the windows. We covered that window and took down the brown paper. And it just looked a little better. And people said, wow, how about that? What's that? And then we put a committee together, and we said our focus. You have to have a narrow focus. You don't want to have mission creep, and you don't want to overreach. So our narrow focus was to promote dining, entertainment, specialty retail, and our natural resource, which was the river, and that was the focus. And we did that. And we also became expert at grant writing. All right. For example, there's the Department of Community and Economic Development from the state gives what they call facade grants. Not only were our shops vacant, but they were run down. They look bad. The exterior. DCED gives facade grants. They're very competitive to get, and if you get them, you get about $50,000 or $60,000, and then you're allowed to give those grants to shop owners who want to do the front of their building. It'll be a 50% match. So now we had the ability to go to somebody and say, if you spend 10 grand on the front of your building, we can give you 5,000 back. Well, we got the grant and we did that. And it was like, it was almost like, I remember seeing a picture of Levittown when it first opened, and all along the street, it's a famous picture of all along the street, there are moving vans parked and people getting out and carrying it. And it was like pioneers starting a new place, right? Well, that's what it looked like when everybody was doing these facades all at once. So we did that. And we got the grant. We did that. And then I said, let's apply for another one. And the guys at the redevelopment authority said, look, you're lucky to get one. Nobody gets two. So let's give it a shot. We got another.
Just to cut you off, the grant that you're referring to was the grant that you had acquired about 5 years or so ago when you were featured on the reality show.
Before that.
Just prior to that. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So then we got a second round of funding. We were able to do another 10 buildings. We got a third round of funding. We did another 10 buildings. So, and this is and what we learned is that first of all, you don't be shy. If you're going for grants, don't be shy. If you know about them, go for it. As a matter of fact, I think it's governmental malpractice if your town knows about a grant and it doesn't go get it. Okay. That's how we view it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
We got these grants and we implemented them. People really started waking up saying there's something really happening here. And then we got this notice. A friend of mine, I left out an important thing. We said we want to champion the arts, and there was a vacant building on Mill Street. It had been in foreclosure. It was vacant for years. And one of our board members said, why don't we buy it? And then we said, well, that'd be great. Let's buy it and open an arts center, right? But and of course, an arts center would never work in Bristol. But let's buy it. Let's do it. So we turned to one of our board members who was a banker and said, we're going to get a mortgage for this? She said, no way. You guys don't have any assets. You're not going to get a mortgage for this. What are you going to? And one of our board members said, I'll finance it. You pay me the going rate, I'll finance it. We bought the building. We renovated it. Our business plan was to lease wall space to artists, $10 a lineal foot. We had an open house. We sold the whole place out the first night. And at the same time we did that,
amazing.
An arts center opened in Burlington, right across the bridge. And people were telling us, you can't do it. You can't. Arts center can't survive. Well, what happened was we did survive. We survived for 5 years and we thrived, while the one in Burlington went out of business in a year. We had a different business plan. But anyway, what happened then was it was run all by volunteers, going back to that volunteer thing. Nobody got a dime. And we were going great. Then COVID hit. And most of our volunteers were senior citizens. They got spooked, not necessarily so, and
Sure.
they stopped coming. And also, when you're in the middle of a pandemic, you don't wake up and say, "I think I'll buy a piece of art today," right?
Of course.
Sales plummeted. The artists couldn't pay their rent, so we were forced to close. But what the positive byproduct of it is, for a while it gave artists a home, and now what happens is they hang their works in shops, like Calm Waters, Kevin, right? They hang their works in shops, which still gets the work out there, and it's on consignment, so it works. So we did that, and that got people's attention. And stop me if I'm going on too long, but I want to do the last thing.
I'm going to share this with you since you mentioned Calm Waters, right? Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So they opened up across the street from our shop. So that's what I'm drinking right now. So kudos to them. Welcome to Newtown. This is fantastic. And
well, let me deviate and get back to that for a minute. Let me say something about that for a minute. One of the things that really gives me a source of pride, but we're 21 minutes into the show, I see, and I haven't mentioned Eatery Wood Fired yet. So I just did. Okay.
Yes. There you go.
My son and daughter-in-law's restaurant. It's really booming. It's doing great. But the reason I say that when you hold up the Calm Waters cup is that one of the things that really gives me pride is that now Calm Water, instead of us trying to get businesses to come to Bristol, Calm Waters branched out and opened another spot in Newtown, which is really cool. Eatery branched out and opened another spot in Dublin.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have a spot in Dublin called The Station. It's attached to a brew pub. And then Bristol Antique Market branched out and opened one in Burlington. So that's a really good sign for business, right? It's a really good sign of where we're going.
Another good sign is we talked about the vacancy rate however many years ago. And I know Kevin knows this, but I've been scouring the borough pretty actively because we've expanded to a couple different locations now, and it's kind of the natural progression for us to look in the borough because it does fit our business model. And there is zero inventory available on Mill Street. I mean, very, very little. I think there were 3 active listings within the borough that were, commercial grade. So kudos to Bristol. It's really pretty amazing how far you guys have come. So what's next? What's next on the agenda? I mean, you guys really have it. I remember when I would come down, in the summer and just go check out, the doo-wop night and check. I know that's coming up actually, but check out the doo-wop night or check out the big band shows on Sunday nights with my parents. But I feel like you guys are always doing different things. So is this all part of raising the bar, the tree lighting and everything else that you do within the borough, or is this another civic group, or how is this handled?
No, a lot of it is partnership with Bristol Borough government. Okay. So the doo-wop concert, and now we call it Oldies in the Park. That concert is run exclusively by the borough, and we help them promote it, but they do a great job with that. And also the tree lighting is the borough function, and we usually MC it and we do that stuff. And by the way, that is a huge. That tree lighting, sir, it is thousands of people.
It's magnificent.
It's really cool. And when we finally got to see some drone shots of it, it looked like Rockefeller Center. It's really cool. And then there's the Bristol Borough Business Association that does the Sunday stroll. They used to do First Fridays. They changed it to Sunday stroll, and they've done a nice job with that. So all that comes together, and I like to think of it as an umbrella group that promotes everyone. We really focus on joint marketing. It's you get more bang for your buck, I think.
Absolutely.
And, we started a website called Visit Bristol Borough. And, it's one of the services we are. By the way, we don't charge dues for anything. We don't charge fees for anything.
Really?
None. The Business Association does, but we don't.
Sure, of course.
So, and what we do with the Visit Bristol Borough is we invite every restaurant and retail shop to give us their logo, their hours, their link to a website or Facebook page, and we put them all there. And then all of our special events go on there as well, like doo-wop or tree lighting, and that's a good. And then what we do is we get rented a billboard driving people to visitbristolborough.com.
So Bill, if people want to get involved in raising the bar or anything to help beautify or continue to beautify Bristol Borough, who do they reach out to? Can they call you? Do they call Kevin? Is there a contact number that they can reach out to or a website link?
The best thing to do is to get on Bristol Borough Raising the Bar. Ask to join, which is just a click of the button, and we can get you in. And then message me, and you're in. And we tell everybody there's no secret handshake, there's no lifelong pledge, there's no dues. Anybody who wants to be somebody says, "How do you get to be a member of Raising the Bar?" I say, "You just did."
Just show up, express interest, right?
If you want to raise your, roll up your sleeves and do something that we need done, and you're part of raising the bar. We do have a 10-member board. We're a 501c3. We collect a lot of money. We disperse funds. We file, those extensive. You say you have a nonprofit as well.
They're extremely extensive. They're extremely extensive.
Extensive IRS forms. We do all that. But other than that, out of those 10 members, that's the formal part of raising the bar. But it's anybody.
Sure.
So.
Do you have regularly scheduled meetings or a calendar of events that are on the Facebook page that people can look at before they reach out to you, or should they just give you a call?
The board has regular meetings to conduct those businesses, but otherwise we only meet as we need it for a special event. Like you say, let's have a meeting to plan a town-wide cleanup or something like that. We have our Lions Club. Everybody's just so well linked. That's the important thing. Yeah. Our Lions Club is sponsoring a thing called Booze and Brews. The Saturday before Halloween. Okay. And we help promote that. Raising the Bar sponsored a thing called the Mill Street Pour Tour, POUR, because we have 7 drinking establishments within 500 steps of each other. Okay.
How great is that?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So we put music in each one of them, and everybody offered specials, and it's just anything. It's take what you normally do and package it, give it a name. Sure. And give it a tag and run with it.
So the one thing, and I will close off with this. I know we're obviously over time already, but the one thing that I really do love about Bristol Borough is, I've been to, Main Street, USA, pretty much everywhere. I've been to downtown Nashville. I've been to Key West and all these other towns. And, they're great. There's lots of bars within walking distance from each other. But the one thing that Bristol Borough really has and prides themselves in is your food is amazing. I mean, you have Jules, you have the King George Inn, you have Eatery. There's so many amazing restaurants aside from the drinking establishment, the Cantina. I mean, all of these places, it's unheard of within. I mean, what is Mill Street? Maybe 1 mile in length at total. I mean, it's probably half mile.
And the thing we like, Mark, is that none of them are franchises. None of them are chains. They're all authentic restaurants. You mentioned there's an Indian restaurant also called Cafe Bombay. I don't know who does this stuff, but somebody rated the top 100 Indian restaurants in America, and Cafe Bombay came out number 4. I don't know how you do that. Wow. But we'll take it. It's tremendous food.
Absolutely. Chad, you're here. You're back. Close us out, buddy. I want you to at least say something that I feel bad.
No, listen, I let you roll with the passion, my brother, and when you're going, you're going. And look, it would be unfair of me to not provide context. I was a Lower Moreland High School graduate where Mr. Bill Pezza was the AP history teacher for how many years? It's weird for me to call you Bill, by the way. I feel like I'm supposed to call you Mr.
Pezza. 38 years, Chad.
38 years. And Mark, I gotta be honest, Mark. I did not take his class. I was not intelligent enough to make AP, but
and you turned out just fine, didn't you, Chad?
We could have brought you along, Chad. We could have brought you along.
But the only thing that I want to draw to a conclusion, because we could have, first of all, Mark, we did not do justice. 30 minutes was not justice. Sure, we need to do a part 2. I really think we didn't get into any of these other accomplishments. The book that Bill wrote. More into the contest, the national contest.
The book right there, right?
Yeah, the book right there. The Robert Hershevik. I mean, there's so many amazing things. We have to bring Bill back for part 2.
Absolutely. I think we should go out to Brill. We should go out to Bill and go down to Mill Street and grab lunch, have a cocktail, and talk to Bill live on our show. I think why not? Let's see what Mill Street's all about.
Listen, you got a camera or a microphone, I stop. So
why? Because Bill's Italian. He knows better, right, Bill?
Well, the only part that I want to add is that I really think that people that watch this show should understand, and it's funny because I did a small stint of commercial development with business development corporations. They call them CDCs down in Philadelphia. All the major main streets have the commercial development corporations. It's so difficult to do what Bill did. It's so difficult. And I know he's saying he did it with a bunch of other people, but it starts with one person. It really does. That has that. And I don't think people really understand. It's so hard. It's so hard to get that many people to buy into it. And the only other thing I would like to say or I guess that we should say to Bill is, Bill, you know, and I know we didn't get to talk about the deep fire and passion behind all this, because that's stuff I like to do. But what do you want to see for the future? Like, if you were to, you know, pass the torch along now to your son, to Kevin, what do you want to see for the future of Bristol? What's your vision?
Well, first of all, sustainability stuff, right? I mean, you know,
Yeah.
with all the fluff we're talking about, you know, you've got some businesses that are teetering. You always do, right? And our job is to make sure, you know, nothing fires me up more than seeing young people. You know, my son and my daughter-in-law, I just amazed.
Hi, Pop.
But to see
Bill,
young
Bill, you got a shout out from Dana. Is that your daughter-in-law down there?
my grandkids. Hi.
How
Beautiful are they, right? How beautiful are they? But you know, when you see young people take the risk, you know, we have a tea shop, and I don't want to keep you if you're over time.
No, you're not. Go ahead, man.
We have a tea shop on Mill Street, and the woman who opened that talked to me for months, and you know, we just tried to convince her to pull the trigger, and we put her in touch with all the right people to help her. And so when you see them, when you know that they're investing sometimes their last dollars and their time and their energy and their dream, you want to make sure you help them, you know, and that's really important to me. And you see Jules, I mean, to see Jules open that restaurant, which has the most beautiful kitchen I have ever seen. And then to see the billboards on 95 directing people to Jules at Market, and to see Greg and Dana working. And you know, when I go into Eatery, I like to introduce myself. Anybody that's there, I say, how you doing? Where are you from? And the amazing thing is, they're from all over. They're from Southampton, Newtown, Levittown, Bensalem. So coming to town, that's an amazing thing. So that keeps me fired up. I don't want to make that going. But the other thing that relates to you guys is what, as you know, that these businesses need lending institutions. They need access to capital. They need to those who want to buy a building for the first time or whatever. So you know, happy that you're showing an interest, and that there could be a perfect synergy there, you know.
Yeah, and Kevin, hold up that book one more time. Where can people get a copy of this to
Amazon?
To read?
Amazon. I've written 5 books. This is the one that's relevant to what we're talking about today. You can get them on Amazon. That's the easiest spot. You can also get them at Great Ideas by Ann on Ratcliffe Street.
Okay.
Yep. So there's a local bookshop too. So there's the only other part I want our viewers to understand is this is not your average Joe from the neighborhood that decided to do something. He's a pretty smart dude.
Hey, or at least I can fake it well, right?
You did great. Thank you, Paul.
It's not, you know what, guys? It's not even about the smarts. Like, I go to Bill because I want to learn the history. Because, like I said, I drive the River Runner, and sometimes they want to get on just for a ride. They're not even going anywhere. So when they ride with me, I want to tell them about Bristol. I want to know everything I can, and he's my go-to source. And like I said before, it's a groundswell. And in my personal opinion, it really does start with Bill and his motivation and positivity, and it just has a trickle-down effect in everybody in that community, and it's amazing.
Well, but just every time you say that, and I appreciate it, but I have to say we have a tremendous team of people working and a tremendous local government, and it's all of that. But thank you, Kevin.
Kevin,
I'm glad you managed to stay out of jail too. I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, you know, I was pretty badass, you know.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, one more question to you. How far in did it, like, when you moved into Bristol, because you've been there such a short time, how far in did it take, or how long did it take for you to meet Bill? Because my question is, you got the Bristol bug. How much of that is attributed to Bill?
I'd say 90% of it, honestly. I'm not blowing smoke. 90% of it is because of Bill, and I met him within the first week of us moving, buying a house down on the river. I wanted to see what it was all about. I went into town. Guess who was there? Bill.
Imagine that.
And when you first meet him, you think that he's the mayor. He's not. He was, but he just is so personable, and he's all about welcoming and greeting, and telling and helping. It's just amazing to watch, honestly.
Well,
we really look forward to that.
We're doing fine, and I can go to sleep at night without getting too much of the the back.
And I also listen. Hey, on Bill's point, I also know, the mayor and his dad and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
they're all about it, just like he is.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
And Bill touched on it several times, and it is a combination of everybody coming together. That's why the success happened in Bristol, is because there is no us against them. It's just one group coming together for one reason, and it's awesome.
The synergy.
Everybody get on board or get out of the way. We got things to do. You know?
That's right.
Well, you guys are really an amazing group. You know, something that a lot of neighboring communities can learn a lot from. And we're hoping that this show does that. We're hoping Kevin can become that mouthpiece for Bristol in the show that in the communities that we've created. And Bill, I'm going to leave it with this. I believe there's only one career you haven't tried yet that sounds like it'll be pretty fitting for you, Bill.
What's that?
We may have to get an orange shirt.
Real estate.
Don't discount. Listen, Bill may have been a realtor at one point in his life. You don't know that. But, you would make an amazing realtor, Bill, because you're honest and you're hardworking, clearly. So
well, my wife keeps asking me, how much do you get paid to be in Raising the Bar? And then she said, I remember nothing.
Well, we thank you for your time. Chad. We thank everyone for their time. Does anyone else want to add anything before I close it out? Everyone good?
We will come visit you, Bill. We'll be down. Hopefully the next week or two, we'll come visit Bill, and we'd like to set up another show. I think it only makes sense. This is great. We're 20 minutes over time, and I feel like we've been talking for 2 minutes. So, Kevin, anything else in closing?
No, just that, I want to reiterate that this is going to be a monthly show, and it's not just going to be about where you can eat and where you can drink, look, I'm already promoting. This is one of my favorite stores on Mill Street. It's everything and anything sports. So cool. Yes, the show once a month is going to be every establishment in the borough, not just specific ones.
So looking forward to it.
I suggested to Kevin that specialty retail shops don't get enough attention. The restaurants are getting decent attention. Especially, did I mention E-Tree Wood Fired? Just but the specialty retail shops, could really benefit from the kind of things you guys want to do.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
All right, Chad, you want to shut it down, brother?
Yeah, well, we thank everyone for watching another edition of Neighborhood Spotlights. We will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and we look forward to another amazing episode about Bristol Borough next month. Gentlemen, have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.